Minute break. So our next presentation is going to be an overview of our military programs led by Ms. Katarzyna.
Good morning. I'm Katarzyna Czelkowska-Ryzli. Because of my very lengthy last name, very often I just go by Katarzyna, and it's already, usually there's a low chance that there's another Katarzyna in a room. So you can probably, no problem, find me. It's wonderful to be here. Looking forward to meeting everyone. Just to let you know, I spent 12 years working for the private sector in the Northeast before joining the federal government. And on the engineering side, I've seen both sides of the U.S. Corps of Engineers and also working truly for DoD agencies. So let me go relatively fast because already a lot of different information was presented before by Mr. Duret about our boundaries, about our region, and also my colleague Don already covered the civil works. So I will focus on those areas that actually you'll see how it complements our entire program at the Great Lakes and Ohio River Division. Next slide. Okay, we are ready. So military program, even the heading is military. Yes, we do have military programs. We have military construction, installation readiness, environmental, and also interagency and international services. In our case, we are in Great Lakes region and Ohio River, we do really interagencies. Some of our sister MSCs, as you may work with them, they do some work internationally. They have those opportunities. And of course, at the end, I will go more over our opportunities going into FY23. Probably that's the most important and interesting part for you. Okay, next slide. As presented before, we focus on military program boundaries. Within the division itself, we have our major military boundaries. That consists of 5 states. And those states are Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Kentucky, where we have our few major installations. And we have 2 Army installations, Fort Campbell, Fort Knox, 2 major Air Force, Scott, and Wright-Patterson. We also have a smaller installations. They are like Grissom Air Force Base. And we also need to discuss with you the most important part of it. Within our division, we don't only have our mission with our military boundary, but also we have nationwide enterprise missions. And this is the very important piece that we would like to show to you our coverage and our program elements to it. Next slide, please. I guess I got a little bit ahead of myself when I discussed already, the 5 states. So just to complement that, from the 5 states, I mentioned the key installations, but in total, we have 10 Army, 4 Air Force, and also other DoD agency installations. It is our main programs that include both the MILCON, military construction, and also installation readiness. On the enterprise level, we have right now 3 major programs. Army Reserve Program, Air Force Reserve Program, and the new mission that got assigned to us within the last few months, that it's Army AirSIP program. The Army AirSIP program, I will go over a little bit more later, means Energy Resiliency and Conservation Initiative Program. Okay, next slide, please. For those of you that work for other MSCs, you already operate throughout through to the enterprise. On the Army Reserve, our main district, Louisville, operates within the entire United States with the 4 readiness divisions. And as such, those projects are through various states. What's different a little bit on the Army Reserve program is probably what you notice, those projects are little smaller than typical installation projects. And also some of those projects are not necessarily on installations. Sometimes they are on the land that is purchased and also sometimes on lands that are leased. Those are, for example, the Army Reserve centers. Next slide, please. Air Force Reserve. Air Force Reserve, it's similar to the Army Reserve. It's for the enterprise mission. And the current operating locations are depicted on the map. But once again, some of those not always necessarily be on the military installations, and the projects are smaller in scope. Sometimes then the typical, our military installation, for example, like at Scott Air Force Base.
Someone wanted to know if you could reiterate what installation readiness is.
Oh. Installation readiness. I was going to go into another slide when I would be mentioning to you about installation readiness. On military construction, which is MILCON, those projects, we have the major MILCON and minor MILCON. On installation readiness, this is the work we provide, which is under O&M funding. Next slide. Yes, and here's my opportunity to present you on the military programs, our portfolio of projects. Military missions, as mentioned earlier, we have military construction, military readiness that's covered under operation maintenance funding, environmental, and interagency international services. On enterprise, as I mentioned, we have Army and Air Force Reserve, and recently also Army ERSIP, Energy Resiliency Conservation Initiative Program. One small program that's also on the enterprise level, it's our DODIA, furniture and equipment. The graphs depict to you the latest 5 years of our program. We chose 5 years because some of you are familiar about MILCON running a 5-year cycle. So that depicts one good period of time. On average, our funding per year, approximately 1 billion, little bit over 1 billion per year on funding, and our obligations, meaning contract awards, are a little bit below 1 billion. 1 year on this chart is much bigger. It's the year when we awarded the Louisville VA hospital. Also from the chart, you can see how big the part of our portfolio is. Most of the work is in the military construction and installation readiness and the UMA funding, and of course IIS if there are big DVA projects being included. Next slide. Under military construction, under MILCON, we would like to make this breakdown so it's much clearer to you to see what we have in our program. This is where within our regional military footprint, when we provide military construction services, it's for the Army, the Air Force, other DoD agencies, and of course, on the national level, it's going to be Army Reserve, Army Air Force, and now we have also the Army ERSIP program. On the program also we have smaller projects, those are minor MILCON. So currently, we are carrying in quite significant amount of funding into FY23. This is how some of this information is depicted. We had challenges with awards last year, and that's why we have more funding coming in, and looking forward to awarding last year and, of course, this current fiscal year. And the challenges are, as we know, on both sides, and we hope we're going to have many more partners working with us. So the project, one of the projects had only 2 bidders, for example. We would like that pool to be much, much bigger for our both sides opportunities. Next slide. On the installation readiness, this is really where we focus on our region, on the five states. Once again, we provide services, engineering, construction, to the Army, Air Force, all agencies that are on those installations. The current pre-award opportunities, we have Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the project in the amount of over $100 million. Also, the Army Reserve furniture refurbishments and other projects continuously in the range of over $200 million. To just depict, how varied the program is, we have a few slides. So we would like to show that it's not always big projects, but also smaller projects. So those may be of some potential for some of you on a much smaller scale to consider. Next slide. International and interagency services. It is always opportunity to leverage existing relationships with our stakeholders, but also with the current BIL funding, actually there are new opportunities. And as such, our districts are being approached by agencies they never worked before with new opportunities. And we are learning that it's not what we might consider as a truly construction. It's much more diverse interest from our stakeholders. It's not, so we provide design construction, we provide environmental services also under IIS program. We provide dredging of rivers, contracting, and also technical support. The agency that we are already working, the federal agencies, span from DVA, Department of Veteran Administration, that has numerous programs. Our bigger partner is currently also Department of Agriculture. There are two programs there. One is the Agricultural Research Centers, and also we have the Forest Service asking us to provide services. EPA is one of our partners. You will see on the other slide that very often EPA work belongs to the environmental. Under IIS, it would be more of the other nature of work for the EPA. Currently, with EPA receiving much more funding under BIL, it is also opportunity for us to expand, providing them with numerous services and projects. EPA just started processing the funding coming to them, and at the moment, we are not able to present the future yet, but it will be probably ready next year. Next slide. And the fourth very important program is environmental program. Program is not only focused on providing services to our DoD agencies, but also to the EPA under Superfund program. Traditional services for the Department of Defense, we have under FAT, under BRAC, under DERP, under environmental quality. Some of you probably are familiar. The next slide, I will not necessarily go into details, but it helps you with the soup of the acronyms to actually help to understand what they mean. Currently, with the, as I mentioned, under the BIL funding, the EPA has received already a lot of funding for the Superfund. Additionally, the Superfund is going to be replenished by new taxes on chemicals. So over the next 10 years, not only the initial Superfund funding of $5 billion is going to be serviced over the next 10 years, but additionally, most likely around in the range of an additional $10 billion may be added to the whole program. We are in the area that may not have been serviced as much in the environmental program in the past. The focus has been very often on the Northeast. However, right now the EPA is focused on our area addressing the Rust Belt. And this information will be available much more ready for presentation to you next year when we get more information from the EPA, as EPA right now is laying out the program for the for the outgoing years. Next slide. As I mentioned, our mission overview is for environmental, a soup of acronym, FATS, formerly utilized defense sites. We have also used FUSRAP, Don already mentioned, very complicated acronym, former Manhattan Project sites. We do also BRAC, which is baseline realignment and closure. Next slide. Okay, that's the most interesting part. This is the opportunities. And we would like to highlight that for the FY22, we are focusing on the construction, vertical construction environmental opportunities here. For the vertical construction, within the division, we had about $500 million in contracts awarded. Out of that, small business was 46%, around $227 million. $227 million. Okay, next slide. Vertical construction, that's our main focus here with you. So we have a few tables that are available for you. The first one is the focus on our 5 states, the major installation we have within our military footprint here. And projects are Wright-Patterson, Scott, Fort Knox, Rock Island Arsenal, Fort Campbell, and at Crane in Indiana. So you see your interest. We don't have all the details. You're going to have opportunity to speak with our different parts of the acquisition program. So acquisition strategy and solicitation are not sometimes defined yet at this point and going forward. The next slide. This is the table when it gives you opportunity to see the upcoming nationwide opportunities. And it's a much wider picture. Here, there are opportunities from Puerto Rico, Utah, Texas, Nevada. We also provide you with the opportunity descriptions. You'll see there is very varied program. And already we have a few microgrid projects listed there. Next slide. This is where our nationwide Army Reserve, Air Force Reserve, and also the new AirSIP program opportunities are listed, and it's for nationwide programs. So once again, the diversity is from Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Oregon, and California. OC. Next slide. Environmental remediation. As mentioned, we have a big FUSRAP program right now in our area. And as Don presented FUSRAP, what's interesting about FUSRAP, it comes into us as civil type of funding. However, it's executed by the military integration division. So that's why it's very often listed under our program as opportunities to you. This is my last slide. This concludes my presentation. Any questions, please let me know. We have time to do it, after, or any clarifications. I understand that some of this information, because of the programs, is sometimes little complex because so many programs overlap or have the little gray boundaries where we move from environmental to IIS or IIS environmental or even to civil works. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Yes. Question is about the support to which districts. So to clarify for you, we have one truly military district. That's Louisville. And Louisville carries out all the military construction work for us. So that's our main district. And also majority of our installation readiness and also the under O&M funding. There are instances that some projects are also being done by other districts, smaller districts, regionally within the geographic boundaries. One of the questions is about the small business contact. So at our LRD level, we have one of our small business colleagues here, Bonita Carl, and additionally, we have small business colleagues throughout our districts. And in some instances, maybe one small business person serves like 2 districts. So it's not necessary only one district has one small business person. But with bigger districts, we of course, like Louisville, they have their own dedicated team to do that. Question about the airship contract vehicles. Well, this is a new program. We just got assigned the program a few months ago, and we working this program together with Huntsville. To clarify, Huntsville is the engineering design part of this program. We are on the construction. However, as the program evolves, also different combinations between Huntsville and us may evolve over time. And we will be updating as we move, and we established our baseline going forward next week. Both Huntsville and LRD, with of course Louisville, we are meeting, and it's official kickoff of our relationship and providing services to the Army on the airship.
Can I ask just 2 follow-on questions related to URSIP? One, I couldn't see all the details up there. Slides from a couple of weeks ago. You had a lot of projects listed, and I saw different acquisition strategies. Although I had heard that the big Army has made a decision that all Army URSIP will be design, bid, build. So that's one question. Then the second question is, at some point, I know Huntsville is putting together an AE URSIP contract. Is Louisville going to do I'll call it a construction-focused URSIP MACOC in the next year or 2?
Yeah, sure, please, ma'am.
I was just going to introduce the Louisville District Commander, Eric Crispino. And as we described and you heard from Katrina, we're a Civil Works heavy division, but we are a military division as well, national military programs. We're really excited about it. So Eric, if you could talk about all the exciting things happening.
Sure. So good morning, everybody. Just a few things. Thanks, Katarzyna, for covering the military program. A few things I want to highlight. As Mr. Durrett said, I think he stepped out. Oh, he's in the back. When he gave his program overview, the military program really does look very consistent. We can only see out about 2 to 3 years, and then it looks like it drops off. But we're seeing pretty consistent between 5 to 600 million, and that usually breaks out about 50-50 roughly between what we call our active military program. That's the military construction we do in the 5-state area that Katarzyna highlighted, and then the other 50% approximately falls in both the Army Reserve and the Air Force Reserve. I do want to introduce some of my team here in case you have questions on the military program. So we'll start with the contracting folks. Of course, we've got Misty Bach, our district contracting chief, and then April Judd, if you stand up and wave too. So she is our branch chief within the contracting division that does our military construction. So I'm not sure if Crystal Harbin is here, or she might be in the back in the networking room. But Crystal Harbin is our deputy for small business, and she is fantastic. So definitely connect with her if you're a small business and looking at how you can get involved with our military construction program. And then we brought Mr. Kirk Daly. Kirk is standing up in the back. He is the division chief for our construction division. And then Ian Mitchell over on the left is our new engineering division chief. And we're a family-focused district. So we've got Christy Mitchell, the better half of Ian, is the reserve program branch chief in the program management side of things, and she covers the Army Reserve and the Air Force Reserve. So that's a little bit about the team that's here. If you've got more questions on this, the projects we do are pretty wide in nature. Everything from new barracks to barracks renovations, ranges, runways, hangars, schools, headquarters facilities, secure facilities, and then maintenance facilities. We run the gamut there. And just a note on how we execute the reserve projects with our partners, and then how we'll execute the ERSIP program as well. So Louisville is the design and construction agent for the reserve work. We also have the project management team as well. So we will be involved with the Army Reserve and the Air Force Reserve in the planning phase, the scoping phase of those projects, and then as they move into the design, we will do the design work typically through an AE. We keep some projects in-house for design, and then the April and her team and Misty will award the contract. And then we use the local geographic districts. So if it's in South Carolina, we'll use Savannah district. If it's in Puerto Rico, we use the Jacksonville district, and we will work with that resident office or area office to be the day-to-day team on the ground overseeing the construction and the quality assurance role. And so that's approximately how the ERSIP program will work as well, with the only difference being that the Huntsville district is going to have the design piece. They'll do some designs in-house. They'll have some AE MATOCs established for that design work. And then we are starting, and it takes a long time to put a construction MATOC in place, but to your earlier question, Bruce, we are planning to do construction MATOCs for the ERSIP program. We have those in place for the reserve program just over the last few years, and we've used those quite a bit. So then there's some smaller programs. We have our national roofing program, which we use for the Army Reserve to go back and improve and put new roofs on various Army Reserve facilities. And then, as Katarzyna mentioned, our furniture program for Department of Defense education schools. So that's kind of a unique little aspect that we picked up about 7 years ago, where we outfit schools, Department of Defense schools with furniture. And we do that globally. So we've outfitted schools in Japan last summer, but we've outfitted schools in England this summer. That's good TDY, Germany, Puerto Rico, et cetera. So that's just a few additional notes on the military program. I don't know if there's anything else specific you wanted me to cover. Is there any other questions in the chat box on this one? So we will be around all day and look forward to fielding any questions you might have about the military program.